Cybersecurity is often overlooked during the initial stages of a charity's beginning. Now, this is usually due to competing priorities such as fundraising, program development, or growing an audience as well. Obviously, that's very, very important. Now, the absence of established safeguards can make new charities vulnerable to cyber attacks. My name is Joel Hogan. I'm the Customer Success Manager at Charity Digital. For over 7 years, I've been providing support to charities in a number of different ways, from frontline support, such as live chat and email, to delivering consultations, webinars, and, believe it or not, focus groups. So today, let's take a look at the importance of cybersecurity for new charities. So we'll take a look at just start with our agenda. So we are going to start today by understanding why new charities are vulnerable to cyber attacks, and then move on to the impact that cyber attacks can have on new charities. We'll then take a look at the steps to strengthen cybersecurity protocols, and even look at some potential cybersecurity offers that can help you with this. And as usual, like I mentioned earlier as well, we will finish up with a Q&A. So feel free to leave your questions in the meantime, and we'll come to them at the end of today. So without further ado, let's take a further look into the vulnerabilities for new charities. So why are new charities vulnerable? So I just need to reiterate that what I said earlier, that new charities will often overlook cybersecurity processes or software initially due to other priorities. Not only do priorities in action such as fundraising, grant applications, and audience growing take precedence, but priorities over staff or personnel choices are a big factor too. A new charity is far more likely to hire fundraisers, marketeers, finance people before a dedicated IT person, or they would delay the action to purchase managed services to look after their IT, including cybersecurity. The building of policies or training towards cybersecurity will certainly take a backseat to grant applications, fundraising, or any monetary tasks initially. Now, during the early months and years, new charities will also be working to establish their credibility and trust. A single cyber attack could cause critical damage in many different ways. Negative publicity or the loss of trust from vital donors or grant funders can lead to severe financial setbacks or even closure. And with the use of technology, so at Charity Digital, our mission is to push charities to become more digital. And with this, charities will adopt new technology to help streamline their operations, of course. Now, platforms such as donor management, payment processors, social media, and general CRMs are all fantastic and extremely impactful. But these tools also introduce new vulnerabilities if they are not secured. There we go. Sorry about the slow slide there. So limited resources. So financial limitations force new charities to prioritize or favor other areas, with the most obvious being mission-led objectives. As a result of this, charities may depend on free or even outdated security solutions that cannot protect against sophisticated attacks. As we touched on earlier, with there likely to be no or very little IT personnel or support in the beginning of a charity, decision makers may lack the awareness or potential cyber risks or how to mitigate them effectively. Now, with high-value data, donor data, including names, contact details, and payment information, is a lucrative target for identity theft or financial fraud. Cybercriminals often exploit this data for target scams or for resale on the dark web. Charities working with vulnerable populations may hold sensitive personal information that, if breached, could expose individuals to harm. And information on fundraising campaigns or partnerships can be exploited by cybercriminals to disrupt operations or even set up fraudulent attacks against stakeholders. And with inexperienced teams, charity founders and initial staff members may not recognize threats such as phishing emails, suspicious links, or weak passwords due to knowledge gaps. Training for cybersecurity tends to be lower down on the priority list, which could lead to ignorance on how a person's actions can compromise security. Charities tend to have a high turnover of volunteers who even those volunteers can handle sensitive tasks, which can result in inconsistent training to cybersecurity practice or poor to no handover of tasks or responsibilities. And with trust exploitation, the impact and goodwill associated with charities makes them prime targets for scams aimed at donors and partners. Cybercriminals can impersonate charities and founding charity members to obtain fraudulent donations and steal credentials. So we'll take a look at the impact of cyber attacks on charities in general. So in terms of their financial devastation, cyber attacks can lead to substantial costs for incident response, legal counsel, and system recovery. A single ransomware demand or cyber attack can drastically drain resources that are already limited to a charity. Loss of donor trust. So donors are less likely to contribute financially, or they perceive a charity as insecure or mismanaged. Negative publicity around a breach may make partnerships or grant applications less likely due to reputational damage. With operational paralysis, cyber attacks can shut down essential functions like email communication, online donation portals, and data management systems. Charities most likely cannot fulfill their mission during recovery periods due to cyber attacks, which will affect their beneficiaries. Of course, with the legal and risks, non-compliance due to weak cyber security can result in fines or legal challenges. Data protection regulations such as GDPR are not met as well. So failure to protect sensitive data can lead to lawsuits from donors and beneficiaries, potentially leading to further financial strain. So let's take a look at some of the steps to strengthen this. So let's start with cyber hygiene. It's a term I came across. So strong password practices. So you'll want to implement password policies that has combinations of uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols as well. You can use password management tools to eliminate risks of weak or reused passwords as well, which there's an option for that later as well. And just obvious things as well. Just try not to have obvious passwords such as password 123 or QWERTY or something like that. Obviously, please don't have passwords like that or tend to have too many obvious nouns as well. With multi-factor authentication, I'm sure we're all getting a little bit more used to this as the years goes on, but it's as the years go on, but it still can be challenging at times. You'll want to enforce multi-factor authentication for all systems that handle sensitive information. As I said, we're getting used to this, and I'm sure many of us here today have started to use perhaps authenticator apps or have codes emailed or texted to us as well. So it's a little bit difficult to get used to in across the few years, and can be, can be troublesome. But we're getting a little bit used to it, and the reason for it obviously is for good reasons. It's to protect us and our cybersecurity. So regular software updates. So you will need to maintain updating your operating systems and other software to protect against known vulnerabilities. If you are running Windows, for example, if you check for updates and download them as a priority. So if you've got your search bar at the bottom left or if you are using Windows, just type in update and you'll see like the Windows update icon should come up. So check that regularly. If it's not always, Windows does tend to push you for updates as well, but it's always good to look for them manually as well. Something as well that's overlooked is all smartphone users. Sometimes we skip updates on that. It's important that we update our phone when the update request comes through, as they are due. The updates aren't just there to annoy us, but also to provide valuable security updates as well. And that's something you can take away today. If your phone is overdue an update, definitely update it. So with data backups, regularly back up all important data, ensuring at least one copy is stored on offline to prevent ransomware exploitation. We actually ran a webinar a few weeks ago on this topic, so I suggest checking it out if you are not familiar with the importance of backing up your data as well. So check that out as well. A real big deep dive into the importance of backing up your data. With access controls, you will want to restrict access to only those who require it for their duties. Essentially, the more people that have admin access to software means it's another potential door for a cyber criminal to use and interrupt. So try not to make everyone an administrator, and try and just to limit the administrators to their specific specialist areas if you can. So just continue there. So we want to build awareness. So with staff and volunteer training, you'll want to conduct regular workshops or training sessions covering topics such as recognizing phishing attempts, how to share files securely, and how to report incidents as well. You can create awareness campaigns, so you can incorporate cybersecurity reminders into your daily operations. You can employ email footers to spread the importance of cybersecurity. For any of those working in offices, you might want to make some nice visuals to help remind about cybersecurity, such as maybe posters or something around the room, just as visual reminders, as we all take in information very differently there. So anything visual could help others as well. You want to use trusted tools and platforms, so vetted vendors. So you want to partner only with technology providers that offer strong security features and comply with data protection standards as well. So whoever you do end up working with, potentially, if you're working with a managed IT provider, who might, if you're in the spot where you might want to outsource your IT to an external IT company to look after all your emails and various things, make sure you vet them as well. Take a look at the reviews as well. Don't just join anyone just based on prices, where you don't want to work with any sort of cowboy companies. And with secure communications, you'll want to encrypt email services and messaging platforms to protect sensitive communications. A lot of Microsoft subscriptions have these features and tend to be very popular with charities that handle sensitive information, perhaps such as patient information, if your charity is to do with like sort of health and things like that as well. So definitely look into encryption, especially if you're using sort of Microsoft things as well. And with incident response plans, so you want defined roles for that. So you want to assign clear responsibilities for responding to cyber incidents, including communication for letting your donors and beneficiaries know if you've recently suffered a cyber attack. And actionable steps, you should also ensure that you document step-by-step procedures for containing breaches, recovering data, and preventing recurrence of cyber attacks. And you want to leverage free and low-cost solutions. So community resources, you should definitely engage with organizations like the National Cyber Security Center or the NCSC for free tools and guidance. They should be both your next stop for cybersecurity information after today, as well as all sort of future first point contacts as well. And they're essential to the charity sector for cybersecurity guidance. And with low-cost software, you'll want to explore low-cost cybersecurity software for your charity. Luckily, we at Charity Digital are one of those options, but even going directly to organizations that provide cybersecurity solutions is also an option, as well as many organizations, many software providers, things like that. They may provide unadvertised discounts or payment rates for charities. So it's always one of the old school phrases, how much for cash? I guess the charity version is how much for non-profits. So you got no harm in asking of those if you just go to companies directly, because they might have something that's hidden there. Okay. Big bright screen, that'll wake some of you up. So just to go through some of the offers there for charity, that's on Charity Digital that may be of interest to you as well, that we're speaking about. So we'll go start from the top left and make our way right to the diagonal right at the bottom. So Avast, it's an excellent cybersecurity option for charities due to the brilliant cloud care deployment tool and also the speed that Avast can locate threats. The Avast Cloud Care Portal, which is used to manage your cybersecurity software, is fantastic. It provides you multiple options on how to deploy your software to your chosen devices, as well as provide lots of options for reporting tools and customization for your level of protection. You can also easily assign or reassign licenses to devices as and when you wish as well. And this can often be a stumbling block for software that comes with a single installation, as you can potentially lose access to a cybersecurity license when you change devices and you're forced to purchase a new license. So that is an issue with Avast. You also have the option of purchasing add-ons such as content filtering, which can stop your users from visiting websites with inappropriate content. Particularly useful tool for any charities that have their own premise that provide like on-site training or job procurement, that kind of thing. So to keep people in the area they want to rather than from elsewhere. And the patch management tool for Avast as well, that add-in is also great to ensure that all devices are secure and cared for from a remote location, allowing you to systematically manage, acquire, test, and install software updates or patches to address any vulnerabilities, bug fixing, and functionality improvement. Now, the goal is to ensure that with patch management that all systems remain secure and up to date, and not to have devices on different stages of being up to date and current. So if you're looking after several devices, several PCs, you want them all to be on the same update level. Some may be at different sort of spots, and that's what you want to avoid. With Avast as well, you can also install Avast on your servers as well. With if any sort of small charities do look into purchasing sort of physical servers, may be unlikely, particularly at the beginning, due to the expense, but you can install on the servers. It's recommended that you don't activate all of the features of an Avast license when installing on a server, as it could interfere with some of the typical operations and tasks a server does. And finally, with Avast as well, we'll see it comes with a great remote control tool, allowing you to take your devices, take over devices remotely if you need to. So I just wanted to mention this as it's not necessarily a cybersecurity tool, but the inclusion of it is extremely useful for remote support within your organization. So there's a lot of tools similar to that out there, which you have to pay a pretty penny for, but at least you get that for free with Avast. And like I said, Avast has many different shields and features to protect your hardware as well. So when comparing its threat identifying speed to some of its competitors, Avast does come out on top. Now over to the right, Bitdefender. It's another great option for cybersecurity with some good pricing available as well. Bitdefender has many options such as antivirus, internet security, or even mobile security for Android smartphones, which is a nice touch as well. Now, do be aware that Bitdefender does have eligibility criteria regarding the quantity of licenses you can purchase per year, and they also won't provide a charitable discount to sort of any larger or sort of any charities that have a larger income. Not usually an issue for new charities starting out, unless your charity perhaps had a sort of a different goal before it gained its charitable status, but just something to be mindful of. And with Norton, another big name in the world of cybersecurity, Norton has some great low-cost bundles available that can protect computers, tablets, and smartphones with extra features such as firewall, VPN, so virtual private network, and password manager. You can cover a lot of bases with Norton. Norton is a fantastic option for smaller charities as the bundles are affordable and come with a lot of features. Again, like Bitdefender, there are some restrictions regarding to the quantity of Norton products you can purchase at a charitable discount per year. But it might, like I said, with most of us being new charities, tend to start out smaller most of the time. That may not necessarily be an issue. Now over to Microsoft. So Microsoft they do have a lot of tools which are used to help strengthen cybersecurity, of course. And now these purchased separately can be quite confusing to think about or even remember to even purchase or obtain. So Microsoft have conveniently bundled them together in many different sort of bundle packages and stuff that you could go work directly with Microsoft. One of the most popular bundles is Microsoft 365 Business Premium. Now, Business Premium, so it provides initially what you would expect from Microsoft. So the three amigos of Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, the ever-present Outlook, of course, and of course some of the new, more familiar members to the Microsoft family being Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, and OneDrive, and all the other bells and whistles you'd expect with Microsoft 365. But outside of these, three really useful cybersecurity additions are Defender, Intune, and Azure Active Directory. Now, Defender is a security tool that helps protect you from threats like viruses, malware, and hackers, which is great. And there are multiple plans available, as usually is the case with Microsoft, with various levels of protection, with the entry level primarily being an email-based protection tool. And the most expensive plans become more of an endpoint protection like Avast, Bitdefender, or Norton. Now, Intune is a tool that helps you manage and protect devices and apps that your employees and volunteers use. It helps you set policies and rules for how devices such as phones, tablets, and laptops are used, and helps you control which apps can be installed and used on these devices. Intune is very, very popular with sort of IT providers who look after charities, tends to be a tick box. Intune tends to be a tick box for anyone trying to sort of reach Cyber Essentials accreditation a little bit further down the line as well. So one to look out for with that. Similar to Intune, Azure Active Directory is an essential component for organizations looking to securely manage identities and access across cloud and on-premise environments. It ensures that only authorized people can access specific apps and data. Now, Microsoft 365 Business Premium has an extremely generous discount for eligible charities. And please note that the version of Defender that is included automatically with Business Premium is primarily the email protection and not the full endpoint protection. So if you want that, you'd need to upgrade that with Microsoft. Or alternatively, shall I say, we've seen a trend that many charities will use Microsoft 365 for lots of their different tasks, you know, the things you expect, email, document storage, some of the creative stuff as well. But in terms of, they'll use it to cover some of their cybersecurity sort of answers and questions, but maybe not use it for their sole protection. So they'll use Microsoft 365, but still combine it with something like Avast, Bitdefender, or Norton as purely more of a pure endpoint protection. So it really comes down to cost. Some people might want to keep everything all in one under the Microsoft brand, or you might want to look after, you might want to switch, try and get the best offer that's out there for you. It's understandable. Now, Acronis is another cloud-based cybersecurity solution with various levels of security options available. That's from anti-malware and remote device wiping to auto-matched patch management as well. Now, the options for cloud backup are particularly worth looking at if you're using Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace. It's a real specialist area for Acronis in terms of backing up the data. They have so many great offers and options available, which you can upgrade in steps, but backing up data, I would say, is definitely a specialty of theirs as well. So if you're looking at backing up data, definitely check them out. Now, with MailShare, I touched on the email protection features of Microsoft. If you're not using Microsoft, perhaps you're using Google or something instead, a real low-cost option for anti-spam is MailShare. I think it's about £3 per year for your device. It could be an option for those who might be using like Google, like I said, or some other type of email that's not Microsoft. Again, I just want to stress that it's not a full cybersecurity solution. It's part of it. So it'd be nice. It's a nice touch to have MailShare to protect against anti-spam, but it's never going to be your whole solution. So just a small part of the, there's a small part of what you're looking after there. Now with Dashlane, talked about password management earlier. So many organizations will perhaps have one device shared by multiple people. In this instance, password storing tends to happen. With passwords, you want to save them securely rather than on a Word document or a piece of paper only. You want to, use a proper sort of software to help you do that. There's a discount code available that will provide a 50% discount on Dashlane Business subscription for 2 or more users. It is world-renowned, reliable password manager and also password generator as well. So if you are looking into that, you might want to check that out. And finally, Cisco. So Cisco products, if you don't know, are used to set up internet connections in a physical office. So if you are working from an office and not from home, that this is where something like this could come in. It's mostly hardware options, meaning that it's providing physical items such as routers, firewalls, and switches. But there are some software options to complement the hardware, such as VPN and system management options as well. Now, if your charity has its own office rather than just purely working remotely, investing in safe network hardware, like I said, routers, security appliances, and switches could be essential, with Cisco being one of the world-renowned leaders for this. So if you don't have your own sort of IT person to help implement this, you should consider hiring maybe a consultant just to help with the implementation of Cisco. May not be a solution you go to straight away as a brand new charity. I've said, like, I think the theme today is looking at what the priorities are at the beginning, but it may be something that you'll come to a little bit later once you're set up and a little bit more established, for sure. Move on. I think I'm trying to a big yellow line on that. I don't know what's happened there. Anyway, sorry. Just going back once. I don't know what's happened here with I. There we go. Apologies for that. A bit of a technical issue. So yeah, just a quick conclusion there as well. So cybersecurity is essential for new charities to build trust with their donors and stakeholders, as well as critical for maintaining a good reputation. There are simple, cost-effective measures which can drastically reduce the likelihood of cyber attacks. By prioritizing, should I say, security early, new charities can safeguard their operations and ensure long-term success. As some takeaway points, you should really conduct an audit of your charity as soon as possible. So invest in training if you can, or start creating things like posters around the room as a starting point. And also invest in tools to fortify your defenses. And the main point statement is to take away, the main point to take away today, should I say, is prevention is more effective and less costly than recovery. There's so much more to cybersecurity that we haven't touched on today, and there's things I've spoken about, ransomware and things like the types of cybersecurity attacks out there, which is you can read more about on our cybersecurity hub, which is sort of previous content that we provided on cybersecurity, whether it's the form of webinars or articles, things like that. So definitely take a good look there. And as well, you want to, again, familiarize yourself with essential cybersecurity leaders as well, such as National Cybersecurity Centre. Moving over to the question page here, and it will have a couple of useful links there for you. So I'm just going to have a look into chat. Let's have a look. Thanks for sharing all the links there, James. No questions so far. So I'll give you a moment just to post any questions that you might have. If not, that's fine. Sometimes we have them. It might be all that you need, but I'll give you a few moments. Hope you found that useful so far. Not sure what this yellow line is. I might have drawn over my slide incorrectly there.
Yeah, it might be an option on the bottom. Is that it? So, potentially something on the bottom. We do have a question. The answer to that is yes, the PowerPoint will be available. We'll send that and the recording round afterwards. And another one for you, Joel. I'll allow you to answer that.
Any advice on protecting against DDoS attacks or other similar things? Yeah, I mean, the way that we're situated with cybersecurity is so we don't provide, we're not permitted to provide direct advice. We're more of guidance with things like that as well, because there's certain qualifications that you need to as well. And to be honest, if this was direct advice, we could get in trouble with things like that. So in terms of DDoS attacks, I would suggest getting in contact with the National Cybersecurity Centre. They do have a team which can help you with things like that for sure. I know that it's when you go on their website, there's a lot there, but they do have a team that you can contact directly, and they can point you in the right direction in terms of dealing with those scenarios, which will be some, there'll be enough information they can provide you going out. But if it's sort of DDoS attacks you've come across before, you need a little bit more information. That's where you might be wanting to invest in perhaps a cybersecurity consultant or IT company who might be looking after your systems there. So definitely start with the National Cybersecurity team. They're great. They have a team that you can email directly, and they can provide you the information that you need. So just wait a few more moments for any other questions. Feel free to put in the chat.
Rather than the chat, can I jump in this way?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, it was more, it's not actually questions, more a couple of comments really for general consumption. I'm involved in a couple of charities locally, but my day job is an IT consultant. I write software. So I tend to get picked on for all these things. But a couple of things I've found useful, which other people might do. I unfortunately missed when you covered password managers earlier on. I had to take a call, but there is also the issue of business continuity. And because I'm the only person I know who's familiar with the technical side of things in the charities that I'm involved with, I'm always conscious of the fact that, I might not always be here or whatever, And I think having a password manager in place is essential from that point of view, because it allows anyone else who may not, obviously, you're going to limit your audience there, limit access to it, but it is useful to think of in those terms. And the other comment I would make is both NCSC and I don't know how you pronounce it, IASME, promote Cyber Essentials, which is a certification course, which it's good. It's good publicity. It's good to let other people see how seriously you're taking IT security and all the rest of it. But much more than that, it's a really useful learning exercise to go through, to go through the course for Cyber Essentials. It does cost money though, but you learn a lot. I learned a lot, and I've been programming for 30 years, and it's a very useful exercise. And you do get something you can stick in the website to say this is what we've done, and we've done our homework in this area as well. So it gives your contacts and audience a bit of reassurance as well. So I just thought I'd throw those in because I do think they're quite useful things to bear in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, David. They're essential. They're areas that we cover quite often in so much of our content. Some of our previous webinars have spoken about business continuity, as you say. Password managers, we're talking a little bit about. There's an offer for charities by the company Dashlane as well. You may have come across those, so that there's an option there for them. And Cyber Essentials, yeah, we've been shouting about it for years and years now, of the various options. Like, for example, IASME are probably the leader. They're not the only organisation does it, but IASME have sort of charitable offers for Cyber Essentials accreditation. And there's some great tools with the National Cybersecurity Centre, including free tools like the Small Business tool to help you reach the standards as well. But yeah, what you touched on today, yeah, I certainly missed out today. There's so much to go through with cybersecurity, as you said. I tried to touch on a few, maybe some newer areas as well, which is, because there's so much covered in other areas of our cybersecurity hub. But your comments are definitely welcome. Thank you so much, David. Really appreciate
it. I wasn't saying it too because you'd missed them out or anything.
No.
I just felt that it might be useful to add.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's really appreciated. Thank you so much. Okay, see if there's any other questions coming through. You can pop through like David if you like, or you can leave a question. give it a few more moments. If not, like I said, some of our focus groups, they do sometimes are straight to the point, where we had the presentation, not as many questions. It does happen. These are, like I said, more focused style, a little bit more looser than some of our large webinars where people are climbing over each other to ask questions. Sometimes it's a little bit more casual. I'll give it another moment, but I hope that you found that useful today. For any of you coming from new charities, there's obviously so much for you to take on as new charities outside of cybersecurity. I mean, how do you prioritize cybersecurity when you've literally just got off the ground running, probably been waiting for months and months just to get your charitable status and the funds to become a charity, and now you've got to grow your audience. It's hard to prioritize something like cybersecurity. So I hope it can, after today, it can be bumped up on your priority list at least a little bit after today. But no, okay, so we'll leave it there. Again, thank you so much for coming today. If you could kind of leave some feedback for the session, it'd be great to help me improve as a presenter as well, and help our team overall. So thank you so much again for joining me today, and I hope you have a fantastic afternoon. Goodbye now.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.